All right, welcome, folks. Mil Spec Ops Monkey here. This is going to be a Sunday, July 3rd, 2022 Monkey Minute. And so without further ado, let's hop on the board. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and bell for notification. And remember, as always, we are covering stuff that the mainstream media really doesn't want to talk about. All right, so here we go. Without further ado, let's get on to it. So this is just the news, and this is a poll that went out, and that's actually Chicago of all places. But it says 28% of the voters that were polled feel so alienated with our government that they think it will soon be necessary to take up arms. Now, that is 1 in 3 Republicans and 1 in 5 Democrats, and I know there's some independents in that mix as well. But I would have to agree. I think we're on the precipice of something big happening within this country in order to take it back. So anyway, let's move on as we talk about tyrannical governments. Here is Trudeau. It says that the Canadian government basically tracked the location of 1 million Canadians through their federal weather app without them even knowing it. And so something that I've been talking about for quite some time, folks, is the fact that all of these apps, all of these tools we put in our hands are being utilized by our governments to track us and our every breath. They know more about you and me than we know about you and me, okay? So just something to keep in mind. I mean, we show the military intelligence balloons that are over the United States 24/7. We show all of the surveillance aircraft that are constantly tracking us. Just remember that when it comes to Revelation 13, this is going to be a key ingredient, and that is the fact that there will be no escaping, right? So if you don't take that mark, they will basically be able to track you, and you won't be able to buy or sell with it. That's exactly what the Bible tells us. But they will track you to a point where you cannot escape, or it will be very difficult to do so, okay? Not too far away either. All right, now speaking of heresy, let's get over here to Presbyterian Church compares Israel to Nazis. I will tell you that church has basically stepped out on several occasions recognizing LBGQ plus whatever it is as their pastors and lots of other things. And I would say if you're a member of this church congregation, you may want to look for another church just because they are stepping away from our roots, which is Israel, right? You don't turn around and call God's people Nazis, right? So nonetheless, not a good thing, but it is a data point for those that are watching. There's a lot of churches doing it right now, and a lot of them aren't even talking truth. Many of them don't even tell you about prophecy that's going on in the world. So again, pay attention to it. It's a data point, and if you are a member of that church, you may want to start thinking about other churches, all right? Okay, here's one for you. Now, we've been watching for several months, almost 100,000 troops getting moved into Europe as Russia takes on Ukraine, and with the intention of everything expanding here pretty rapidly. And so I think the Army is now starting to recognize that we are short on bodies, and they're starting to basically drop the requirements, allow anybody and everybody to come in, i.e. cannon fodder, right? And so you can see they've dropped the high school graduation requirement or diploma. They'll take anybody, whether you have a GED or a diploma, whatever, they don't care. All right, they're just basically looking for warm bodies. This kind of goes in line with it. The Army is now offering $35,000 for a sign-up bonus for a 45-day quick ship and a $10,000 for a 2-year enlistment option. So you actually are locking in for 6 years and with the ability to earn an extra $45,000 over that 6 years. Anyway, not likely they pay that stuff up front. It's probably given you in little increments here and there, and more than likely you will never live to collect it if the war kicks off. So nonetheless, this is what they're up to nowadays, and it's just a sign of the things to come, right? So, all right, let's move on over. Speaking of wars, Israel shoots down 3 unarmed Hezbollah drones. And this is kind of an interesting deal. It says the Army says they intercepted 3 drones launched by Lebanon's Hezbollah movement headed towards an offshore gas field, which is very interesting. Were they trying to blow something up or what they were trying to do? But no telling. Again, as always, Israel is just something we got to keep our eye on a daily basis, especially with the stuff going on with Iran, because that is more than likely going to be something that is triggered and a major event within that region. So, okay, let's move on over as we're in 365 News. This one's kind of interesting. Biblical swarms of giant cannibalistic crickets plague the northwest U.S. I have not seen anything on this, but evidently these swarms of crickets are now appearing all over Oregon and Nevada. And of course, where there are crickets, they are basically eating lots of crops. So it says right here that a similar infestation in 2003 caused more than 25 million in damage to crops. Well, the thing we don't want to hear right now is stuff to do with crop damage, right? Anything that's taken away our food when we're already facing shortages is a bad sign. And so speaking of that, the Sacramento Bee is talking about 60% of California in extreme drought or worse to start July. And that's based on the Federal Monitor. Now, that is not a good sign. If we get over here and look at the map, you will see, man, most of the United States, if not, very, very small amounts are not. But look at this. Now, this is all the drought. Anything yellow, white's the only area that is not showing a drought right now. That is not what you want to see when you're having shortages coming. You've got to be able to grow your crops. Now, I know this actually extends down into Mexico heavily, but these dark sections are extreme drought, and they've been under that for quite some time. And so, again, very hard to grow crops, very hard to feed animals, to do anything with that kind of a drought because you're just not getting the water. But notice it's even up here in Alaska. Hawaii's experienced it. Puerto Rico, not good. So, all right. Well, listen, we'll continue to monitor that. You guys be safe out there. Just a heads up, I will be doing a live to the masses sit rep tomorrow at 11 a.m. And we'll just take a look at what's going on around the world. I expect it to be a pretty slow day, and it'll probably be a pretty fast sit rep. But there will be plenty of headlines to talk about in addition to the flight traffic. So, all right, listen, that's going to be it for today. You guys be safe out there. Stay frosty. God bless. Monkey out.